So the broad market has finally started to stabilize after falling here in December, and I wanted to take a look at Apple stock specifically because Apple is the biggest component of the S&P 500 and because Apple's also showing key action across price, time, and momentum. So if you're new here, I'm Hema Reddy, and I use those three elements in my trading trifecta to boost my trading and that of my tribe. And let's dig into the charts. Now, before we do, important reminder that trading and investing can be extremely risky business. Therefore, it's your responsibility to evaluate any information, opinion, advice, or other content contained in this video. So let's kind of zoom out for a second. This is something I love to do. My dad taught me that the best place to start is zoomed out on your charts, looking at ideally at least a year of price action, if not more. So what I have is taking us back to the low from March of 2021. And you can see that there's a trend line that connects that low from March 8th to June 16th of 2022. And that trend line was approached in November, and we are now back at it. Okay, we've traded below it for 2 daily sessions, but haven't sustained that closing break below. There's also a falling trend line up top, and that specifically joins the high from January 4th with the high from March 30th. Those of you who look at the SPY and other S&P markets may relate that to a similar trend line you can draw in those markets. All right, so now that we've zoomed out, I'm going to take what I was looking at on price up here and bring it down to momentum. So this is my favorite indicator for momentum, the RSI Power Zones indicator. And what I can see is that we have been bound between the bear resistance power zone and the bear support power zone essentially since September. So that was a hot CPI day. And since then, we've been bound between these two zones. All right, so now let's zoom out. So I'm going to use this cool tool on TradeStation here where you can just grab it and then you can zoom into the section of action that you want to focus in on. And there we have it. So now let's hone in on patterns within patterns. So just like I showed you these two red trend lines that are converging, moving towards each other, what I'm seeing is that we can draw a similar, even further narrowing set of lines that might help us track what Apple's going to do in the days and maybe weeks ahead as opposed to, months. So the line that I want to draw first is coming in to this high from August. I'm going to just change the color, so I'll make this one black so there's some contrast. Joining it to the high from October 28th, and you can see that it was confirmed on November 15th, and it was tested multiple times. So here we know that this is an important area of resistance that the market has yet to climb above since mid-August. Similarly, I'm going to just make a parallel of that line and then hook it differently, okay? I want to come to this low from June 16th, and then I want to hook this line, so like the little marker guy right here, to this low from October 13th, another hot CPI days. Can you see, guys, how we just had a pattern within a pattern, right? I had that big picture converging set of red lines, and now I have this more narrow set of black lines. Okay, awesome. Here's how I'm going to use that information. So to start with, I'm going to change this bottom red line to a dashed line. That way I know it's been violated. It's not holding exactly to the T, okay? Same thing with this lower black line. These support lines are now creating an area that in combination with nearby price action show what resistance may lay ahead. So what I'm going to do is borrow my little resistance lines from up here and focus them into the more recent action. So to start with, I would like to see clearance back above 137.65 because that also would show a return back above that black support line that was holding price. So I wouldn't really look to buy until we can get above 137.65 at the least. All right, once that happens, the next barrier is 144.24. And notice that that is near the falling black trend line. After that is the most important recent high, which is this swing high here at 149.97. And then the new resistance to watch after that would be the high of this whole kind of range, 157.50. All right, let's do the same thing for the downside. If it doesn't continue to rise up from here by respecting this very key June 16th range and instead falls lower, what would I want to see? Well, I would want to see a break below not only the low from Tuesday, the December 20th low at 129.89, but more importantly, this June 16th low. So there's a very important cushion of support right here. And if the market trades below that, you can see the supports that I have laid out. These are the levels that I determined as major supports back in October that I'll come back and reevaluate when I do my full quarterly analysis after the start of the new year. So there you have it, the levels to keep an eye on how Apple unfolds in line with the recent call for the broader market to make a tradable low, which I'd been pointing to for a week. And now you can navigate these support and resistance levels along with any other tools in your toolbox, RSI power zones down below, patterns, forecasting, candlesticks, and more. Catch you on the inside.